All right, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Hopefully everybody is having a fantastic week. Bitcoin's going to be fun to talk about as we have a new monthly open. December has officially come into the books. We started the new month at the same time as we started a new week. So yeah, had a nasty sell-off Sunday evening, but going into the New York session yesterday, it looked like we were going to see that downside continue. You put in 1 hour of a breakdown and then it slowly bounced back for the rest of the day, and here we are trading higher. Now obviously you're still trading inside of yesterday's range because the drop came right as the new candle opened. Literally, December started and Bitcoin dumped. That brought the rest of the crypto market down with it. That even had the S&P 500 sell off a little bit through the Asian session. But now it looks like it's trying to give some of that back, and obviously the sentiment out there is still massively bearish. We can go look at the crypto and stock market fear and greed index. You're at a 23 in the crypto world and a 22 in the stock market. I'll refresh the chart just to make sure, but yeah, I mean, you're still pretty much in extreme fear, which is crazy because we literally have markets trading so close to fresh all-time highs. Except the crypto market, it's literally the one market that is not experiencing. The crypto market is basically showing trader sentiment. Meanwhile, the S&P 500 and other markets are basically spitting in the face of the bears, if you will. So let's go ahead and look at the S&P 500 real quick. Take that out to a daily time frame. You can see here, we are essentially waiting to see what happens if we liquidate November's high. That was the video that I put out on Saturday, essentially lining out the weekly plan. I want to see if the S&P 500 can continue its strength up through November's high. If so, then obviously we'll allow the markets to trade up as high as it wants to go, and we'll just see and wait. But there is a lot of bearish narratives now starting to take hold as the new Prime Minister of Japan announced a massive stimulus package. And then you have Ueda, which is the BOJ guy, the Bank of Japan, literally saying that they're going to hike interest rates more than likely in December. So that's causing the yen yields to literally just go up. Meanwhile, they are holding their rate steady at 0.5%. So there are a lot of bearish narratives now starting to creep into the market. You take into account that the 2-year, 10-year split has went back to positive, and traditionally that's a recession style indicator. The 10-year 3-month as well, both held steady at negative throughout a lot of 2024 and going into 2025, but now we're seeing it start to rise, and the Fed was on pause literally all throughout 2025 and is now starting to cut. So there is a lot of recession speak starting to happen out there, and that's why last week we saw a massive short squeeze, if you will, in the S&P 500. Bitcoin did not do the same thing. So are we going to now see the Bitcoin short squeeze take place since this month opened up extremely weak? We shall see. It actually looks like that if you look at the likes of, say, Fartcoin, for instance. Fartcoin is not one of the biggest cryptocurrencies out there, but it is one of the favorite cryptocurrencies out there for day traders, simply because it has plenty of liquidity and it gives people the opportunity to make consistent returns, as you see on average about anywhere between 5 to 10% daily moves. Fartcoin is or would be considered one of the most riskiest assets on the planet, given the fact that it is totally a cryptocurrency and a meme token at that, meaning it doesn't really have any use case. So right now it is literally just a speculation vehicle. And if we pull this out to the daily, you can see it did the same thing. It opened the fresh monthly candle and then had a nasty 15% sell-off and then bounced. And here we are today, trading right back up into last week's high. We're not quite up there, but I mean, you're closer to last week's high than you are last week's low. And that's after a 15% sell-off. A lot of volatility out there. Huge moves on basically most assets out there. To try to time a bear market is going to be extremely difficult because the market is so negatively, pretty much the sentiment is just so negative. So you have literally all of retail trying to short the market, and for good reason, right? There is now a case to be made that we should be looking for that bearish trade, but at the same time, you're not seeing much downside continuation. But the week just started, so we'll see how this week pans out. One thing that I am looking at and talking about is, obviously trying to get positioned for yen strength. That trade is not working, as you can see here. So basically, the yen had a nice move yesterday, acted like the markets were going to be pretty weak this week, and now it's literally reversing in the short's face. So it's almost as if, though, there's a huge bearish sentiment out there, but the markets are not saying that. So we're going to allow this thing to obviously stop out the first attempt. We'll see if it does ultimately top out somewhere. We'll keep our eyes peeled on it. We are getting ready to go into a new year. So as far as I'm concerned, the trading year of 2025 is done and over. It's in the books. You're now going to have people getting their tax people on the line, starting to get things situated, getting ready to basically, take care of business. We're going to start a new year. So how we're going to play Bitcoin moving forward, my community. When I say we, I am referring directly to my community. We're going to allow Bitcoin to do what it's going to do. Obviously, we can't make it do anything, so we're going to let it do what it wants to do. We're going to allow it to essentially set the year open for next year, let it put in a year high, maybe even a year low, and then we'll see, does January 2026, is it strong or is it weak? And that will basically dictate what we will be looking for moving forward on Bitcoin. So for the rest of December, December is not traditionally a great month for Bitcoin. If we come over here and look, you can see this is basically every December Bitcoin has ever had. The average is setting just barely positive at 4%. Whereas your median is negative 3%. It's a pretty neutral month, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 red months compared to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 green Decembers. Now, with that being said, the green Decembers were all pretty nice monthly rallies. 13%, 12%, then 46, 38, and 30%. While as the red months, when you had a red December, the down move was not that bad. There were a couple, right, that were pretty elevated. 3. The rest of them were minor. So it's a mixed month. December is going to be a difficult trading month if you have a one-sided bias right now. Though if you are only bearish and you are looking for the world to end, it's probably going to be a difficult month for you, as well as if you think the lows are in, it's probably going to be a pretty difficult month for you as well. However, traders, I feel, are going to be able to basically do really good this month, because we are seeing big moves in both directions, and that's essentially all we need to make money is movement. So now that we're getting some movement, I think this is going to be a really good, really fun month. Hopefully you guys are able to capitalize on this as well. So with that being said, yesterday, the three cryptos that we mostly focus on here to trade directional Bitcoin plays are Fartcoin, Pingu, and Bonk. Those are the three that I focus on the most. Usually it's Fartcoin, but there really isn't a trade to take on Fartcoin here unless you think it's going to roll over. Now, obviously, we don't know what the market's going to do ever, but I mean, you have liquidated the weekend. You have liquidated both Saturday and Sunday's swing highs. The next day to liquidate would be Friday's high. So basically, if you want to short it, you can only do so if you're trading under Saturday's high. As if you're trading above Saturday's high, even though there's a daily resistance level there, the next potential liquidation zone isn't until you get to 36.43, and that's going to be Friday's swing high. So the only way you can play Fartcoin today is simple. Short at 34.71 and do not short if above 34.71, because the next objective price point to look to be a short would be all the way up here. So there really is no point in holding a short above this, right? Now, could it go and liquidate the day high? Yeah, it could. But this day high has literally been, it's already been liquidated multiple times today. As you can see on this 30-minute chart, they bought it in London. They bought it. So you were pushing lower going into the London session. Here is the London session open. For the next hour and a half, you pushed down, set the low, and then every 30-minute period since almost has been just going up, setting fresh high, close, fresh high, close. It's only recently it's began to stall out, and it's stalling out at Saturday's high. Yeah, it's as simple as that. There isn't anything to long. I would not be looking for longs right here. I did buy Pingu yesterday when it rejected, or refused is a better word to say, literally refused to go lower. We had a short side bias on Fartcoin yesterday, obviously. We shorted Fartcoin on Sunday when we did our members only live stream. The trade was to short. That trade ended up getting stopped out. I shorted it one more time at the day high, which put my short position right up in here. So naturally that trade made a lot of money Sunday night. I also added to that position yesterday when it traded up into this area right in here. So the way my strategy works is when you're closing dailies under the 21 exponential, we typically want to be looking for shorts. When you're closing dailies back above the week daily 21, we are usually looking to buy support, unless that is a trap. It's fair to say that we don't know if this is going to be a trap or not. It really is not looking like it is going to be a trap, simply because of how high you are literally trading above yesterday's close and high. Right here is yesterday's high. So basically, if we were going to be looking for the short today, assuming that yesterday was a bull trap, then we would have wanted to see price fail once liquidating this swing. But since we are so much further above it, it does not look like a bear or a bull trap. So taking the short today, looking for this to fail, is not the best setup. It doesn't mean it won't work. I'm just simply saying that when my trend following strategies would not really allow me to short this today. Now, with that being said, I am going to, if it does make a fresh day high, maybe look for that short, simply because I want to protect these Pingu gains. All right, because like I said, I bought it right down in here. We looked for an objective level. We found one. We actually found two, but this was the one that, if you go look at it like on a 30-minute, you'll see it grinded that price for a long time and flat out literally refused to close a 30-minute candle under it. So that's where I'm long from. I don't think we're going to see a massive breakout to the upside today. It is possible that you do get that because of how negatively, how much bearish sentiment that is out there in the marketplace this week. So you could see a massive move today. Only time will tell what happens, but yeah, I would like to protect these gains. So maybe I'll look to hedge off that by getting short Fartcoin. We'll see how it plays out. Now, there is another one that is ripping short spaces off and has been for some time here, and that's Pippin USDT. I did do a little bit of research on this to see if there was any like bullish factors causing this to stay up. The only thing that I can see is the funding rate is basically propping the bid on this. On the week's platform, you're paying out every hour to the bulls. That does typically make it more difficult for shorts to win the battle, but we'll watch this swing high right here. Yesterday, it had a massive rally. This is November's high. You can see that we are trading well above that, basically because of yesterday's short squeeze, today's short squeeze. So it's literally trading at yesterday's high right here. If it is going to liquidate one more time and then roll over, we'll see how it reacts here. And this is the big mover. I don't love shorting an asset that is so heavily skewed for bulls to hold the long, but there is no real reason. There isn't any bullish news out there that is supporting the bid, in my opinion, right? Just from what I looked. I did a very quick, it wasn't like a super deep dive on it or anything like that, but yeah. So we'll see what happens with it here. There's other than that, there's not really a lot going on. MicroStrategy got hammered again yesterday, but at this, as with Bitcoin and risk markets, literally bounced pretty hard. So you're right back up into last week's range here. You have been oversold on MicroStrategy since, well, not that week, this week right here. So this is the fourth week. You just opened the fourth week of MicroStrategy trading down into oversold. That smells like we're getting ready to see a big bounce probably, because it isn't just continuing to go lower. I don't know if it is going to bounce, but I am positioned for a big bounce here. And then another stock that we're looking at is the Trade Desk. It had a really nasty year in 2025. As you can see, you are basically under all the major liquidation points. There really isn't anything else for it to at least go down to look for liquidations. It could continue to go down if people continue to sell their shares. And I'm not talking about retail, I'm talking about the people who are in the board meeting of the Trade Desk. Those people, they own the majority of the supply. So if they continue to unload their shares based on whatever reason, then obviously this thing will continue to sell off. But as far as just looking for liquidation points on the chart, you've essentially liquidated them all. The next point for lower liquidations is going to be this monthly swing low right there. So if price refuses to sell under $39, I will put on a long options position for a long time out, like maybe 6 months. Go out in time. This way you can afford to set in the trade while either the buyers start buying it up, or if they fail to hold it and you start closing days or even weeks under the $39 level, then you have a decision to make as far as if you want to hold that position or not. But you can see last week was a very small range. It was a holiday week. This week, you've already basically taken out last week's range, and you've only traded one day. So you had yesterday, literally, you didn't take out the low of the previous week, but almost, right? It was so close. We'll see what it does. I think it's going to bounce. All right, with that being said, that's it. Trador was another one that we were watching. This one obviously is done. So you can see how it's being manipulated. It's just letting the bid support until ultimately it gets rugged. That's what happened to Trador. More than likely, that's what's going to happen to Pippin, as there is no real bullish catalyst out there, as I've already said. Not really. There might be some crypto bros propping it or yelling, boosting, things about it, but I looked for bullish catalysts. I found none. All right. That's what we're going to do today. Hopefully everybody's ready and hopefully everybody's good. Those yen trades, just let them get smoked. Let them do what they're going to do. I don't care. I can jump on this. I can literally wait for a bearish signal on this. All right. Most of your yen assets or most of your majors that are traded against the yen all look like this, really extended to the upside. So if there is going to be, now let me be clear about this. I'm not saying that is going to happen. All right. You would see one of the worst bear markets that we've ever seen if the Japanese yen goes ham. All right. If that happens, you're going to see a nasty bear market. So that is the pessimistic look, looking to trade the bear market or the yen carry trade unwind. Looking for that position is the pessimistic play. So you should not go put on every dime of margin you have on that trade, because most likely they will fix it. All right, they will fix it. Economists and anybody that's watching bond yields right now, they understand what could happen if the yen strengthens up too much, right? We can talk about it, but that is the pessimistic view. The optimistic view is if the chart is bullish, keep trading it to the upside. That is the signal being provided. You have almost a bullish engulfing candle here today. So yesterday it looked like it was going to roll over. Today it said nuh-uh. And that's literally what it's doing in Bitcoin, Fartcoin, risk markets, everything. It gave you a nice little bit of taste of volatility yesterday and then smoked that volatility. There's your VIX. You're back under the yearly opening range. You're back under 1721. As long as you're under 1721, you should have a bullish outlook. Now, if the VIX does get back down into the 15s, that is when you should put on your long-term hedge plays, not when the VIX is up into the 25s. You put on your puts when you have a cheap VIX. That's the best way to play it. 6 month or go out a quarter. However you want to hedge your long only portfolios, you definitely want to do that when the VIX is cheap. And the VIX is cheap right now. We'll see what it does, but as long as it's under the yearly opening range, you have to give it, you have to give the bulls the respect, because that's who's in control of price right now. It's not the bears. Now, there was a tweet or a post that I made saying that there is, we did see a large put to call ratio spike on both risk markets and the VIX last week. And typically that does have some bearish ramifications. I did not make that tweet. Let me hear. This guy did. Let me go read that real quick. It's right here. The equity put to call ratio. So basically the put to call ratio fell down pretty badly here on the S&P 500. And in the past 4 years, that often led to a quick pullback for stocks SPX was lower 1 week later, 76% of the time. That doesn't mean it will do this time. It just means in the past it has been a pretty bearish signal. And then the same goes for the VIX. Okay, I like it, but like I said, I'm watching a specific price, and as long as the VIX is under that specific price, then I cannot have a bullish bias on the VIX. And that's that price right there. So yesterday it was acting like it was going to hold a support. Today it isn't. Today it isn't. That is why you're seeing some of my trades get stopped out. Right? Because we positioned for that potentiality. And now those trades are getting smoked. That happens. It's going to happen. That's pretty much it. Pingu's looking really good here. It's moving up. Bitcoin also moving up. The open is in 3 minutes though. Getting extended to the upside today, but it can continue. Bitcoin isn't showing you bearish deltas here. You are getting pretty up there on the 5 minute. So we're likely to see Bitcoin pull back at the open. But I mean, I wouldn't be expecting a fresh day low out of that. I would be looking to see if support holds. The volume structure on the daily range looks really good for upside continuation. When the point of control is down near the bottom edge of the session volume profile, we typically look at that as a bullish signal. Like you're under the midpoint, right? So it does look like they're propping up the asset by buying it. And yesterday kind of did the same thing. This did migrate. And we saw fart coins migrate as well. So you already know the levels. Everything is ready to go. We did put a very long-term put trade on NVIDIA yesterday. We basically took the same trade that Michael Burry took simply because it's cheap. You could put that trade on for yesterday. You could put that trade on for only $60 per contract. So you don't have to bet the farm on it. But if some nastiness ensues for the year 2026, you'll have a position open to make a lot of money on. But you're going to need a big move for that to happen. He essentially bought the 50 strike puts. That's a long ways down. That would be over a 70% drop on NVIDIA for that to actually go in the money. But he's not going to need the put to go in the money. Right, he's just going to need a big drop as he went out all the way to January 2027. That is the 50 strike on the expiration Jan 2027. So if you want to put that same trade on, that would be NVIDIA. And right here is what that looks like. So Jan 15, 2027. And if you open that option chain up, you can see the open interest in there is vast. And the reason that open interest is vast is because Michael Burry made it public knowledge. And he has to, right? He has to. So that's where he is positioned on this. And he's positioned similarly on Palantir. Way out of the money. That is a more expensive trade. This one was cheap. It is still cheap. So we'll see what happens. I think you might see a near-term pullback on Fartcoin, Bitcoin, basically because you're a little bit overbought. You're not overbought anymore on Fartcoin. So the pullback on Fartcoin may be getting ready to be over. But Bitcoin likely going to see a little bit of a pullback here right at the bell. You got January's low coming in right here. That, it's an objective price point, not really a massive inflection zone. We didn't see a whole lot of like accumulation or distribution at this level. It is just January's low. Let's look at it on the daily and you'll see what I mean. So here's January's low. You can see you set the low and then not really a lot of, you had a couple days like this day here, a random Tuesday in February. Then you had a day right there in March where that acted as resistance. And then the level got front ran a little bit again in March. All right. But when we broke through it in April, you never looked back. You never looked back. So not a lot of accumulation, not a lot of distribution at this level. We're actually seeing it have more inflection points on the near-term chart, as that was, where it kind of stalled out there for a couple days in November. Ultimately, we broke down. It acted as resistance for one day, and then you broke out back to the upside, and then clearly yesterday, you sliced right through it. So I don't know if that level will act as resistance or not, but Bitcoin is trading under the weekly open, under the monthly open right now. So as long as that is the case, we would have like a more near-term bearish bias on it. The problem is it was such a massive move through the Asian session that you broke down well below the VWAP. And then now you're well above it. So these like short week open or short month open levels are a lot better when that happens later on in the month and the volume adjusts with price. So what I'm basically saying, if this VWAP was up here, right, then I would like looking for this to be a short zone more so than with the VWAP way down here. But anyway, you're not even, that's the Jan low, but way up here is your open. That's a little bit of an insane move we saw the other day. Literally. On the 4 hour, you are kind of retesting the 50 on the RSI. So you could probably see a little bit of resistance come into play based on that. On the daily, you're nowhere near it. You're just now going back up into the 40. Red line indicates 40. So it looks like a fresh breakdown. If you're going to see downside continuation, I do like the short. I don't like the volume delta for the short, and I don't like the session volume profile for the short. The volume today is heavily skewed to the upside. So it looks like the buyers are completely winning the battle here. Sellers had all day to smoke this thing. Now, with that being said, there wasn't really a good level to look to short it, so I can see why nobody wanted to short here. I would not have shorted it there myself, as you're holding support above the weekly VWAP. Now it's starting to get into those levels where you could potentially see resistance show up. So maybe today ain't the best day to look for shorts, in other words. Yeah, that kind of stinks because I know everybody likes the shorts. But when the trade ain't there, the trade ain't there. Like I said, this Pingu trade is rocking and rolling now. So if that keeps it up like that, then I would suspect Fartcoin is also about to start rocking and rolling. That Pingu trade's doing real good. I made a lot of money yesterday. I made a lot of money on Fartcoin twice. Hit both daily goals in one day. Over. So I'm usually looking to make about $300 a day. I made $750 on Fartcoin yesterday alone, and my unrealized P&L on the Pingu trade right now is $659. So we're crushing it this week. Barcoin does look like it's trying to go higher. I did set an alert for Pippin. If we get that big volatile spike to the upside, if it fails to push after, then we can potentially look to dump on this for the rug pull, as it has been already stopping people out for many days in a row here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Today is day number 5. If you look at your RSI, you're going to see that you are cooked on the daily. 92. 95 is better, or a better place to look for shorts, whether it's a daily, 4-hour, or weekly. But it is what it is. You're at 88 on the weekly, 8-hour, 87, and 4-hour, I think, had a nice cool down because of this bearish candle right there. So it could still spike one more time. So if you want to break this trade up into 2 places, what you could potentially do here, short yesterday's high, and then if you eat a stop, you could then take a secondary position up here once it closes like a higher time frame candle, maybe a 15-minute or a 5-minute. I know a 5-minute's not a very high time frame candle, but what I mean is if you close a 5-minute candle above, wait for the close to happen, then hit the sell button. As if that's going to be a bullish trap, it'll reject quickly after making that close. So the way I would do that essentially is risk. Whatever your daily risk limit is, cut that in half. So if your daily risk limit is $100, look for the first trade to be a $50 loss. And you can set the second entry, because here's the thing. If it does get rug pulled at 22 cents, getting back down to where it came from is going to be a nasty move. Back down to 2 cents is 87%. So plenty of opportunity here. And like I said, it is mostly a meme token. Not much in the way of, bullishness, just in price. Super bullish in price. I've tried joining the channel but couldn't. Reaching out to you on X, but my account got suspended. So I'm not sure why you can't. Like, maybe where you are, you're not allowed to join Patreon. If that's the case, I don't know what else to do. Because, all it is it's not like that's how I do it, right? I use Patreon to go through it because I thought everybody in the world could use Patreon. But I have heard some people can't. Some countries don't allow, like North Korea and others. Your account got banned on Twitter. That's going to make it difficult for us to devise a way for you to get in there. I need to be able to talk to you some way. We'll figure it out. I'll look into my Twitter and see. Maybe you'll get your account back and I can respond. Pull this off screen real quick. I'll do it after the stream. Looking at USAR and OKLO for long-term spot entries. I don't know if those are crypto tokens or not. Hang on, let me go over here to this. Let me put up USAR first. That's in the NASDAQ. That's going to be a rare earth. I've never traded this for long entries. It's a very volatile asset, that's for sure. I would suspect this. I don't love this chart, right? It's a very volatile chart. It's bouncing off the lows here. It's not oversold or anything like that. Maybe it got to that way on the daily. Here's the thing. China's They have most of the rare earth materials. There are other avenues to get rare earth materials. We have rare earth materials. So is this a deep enough correction? I mean, it spiked from $14 all the way up to 40 and then came back. So, I mean, maybe a support is building in here. It just comes down to, are you willing to own this stock at $13? If the answer is yes, then buy it. Make sure you set a stop loss, right? That's about all you can do on something like this. Maybe the US and China work out some big deal to where China will start sending us more rare earth materials, but that is so unlikely right now given the pressure that these two countries are. I mean, they're at a boiling point. China's literally threatening war on Taiwan, and the US has literally told China, if you do that, you're going to end up going to war with us. And they literally said, so what? So there's a huge chance that in 2028, 2029, the US and China go to war with each other. I hope that does not happen, obviously. I hope they can work out a deal, and I would suspect they will, unless they really want war. And that would suck. When two superpowers go to battle, it won't just be two superpowers. It'll be World War III, literally. Because Russia will get involved, and so will North Korea more than likely. And then the US's countries are going to get involved. So there are a lot of rare earth metals sitting at the bottom of the ocean, but I haven't really heard much in the way of how much. And the company to play that is actually one of the companies that's going, the metal company, or TMC. They're actually going to directly be responsible for a lot of the mining. But I mean, other than that, you just got to ask yourself if you can afford to own it at $13. It is on sale. But I haven't looked into this enough to know, why did it spike? Was that just based on hype, news, and then once the news died down, it got sold back off? Is it getting ready to make a bigger run? You know what I mean? We don't know. $13 seems pretty good. I mean, this is a very disgusting chart. There's not much else I can say about it. If you lose $13, see what happens at Q3's open, down at 1063. That would be cheaper. But I mean, yeah, I suspect it's probably going to build in a long-term support here. I don't know that it will. And this is a company too. It's not an ETF. So there's that, right? But TMC is another rare earth metals play, because they're literally looking to mine the bottom of the ocean for the magic rocks. We've discussed this in depth. Like, you can see where we bought it initially. First, we started buying it at $3, but then, it had a nice little rally. It's getting a very nice bounce off the lows here. I could be a buyer at $4. I'm not going to buy it at $7. I own some of it at $3. We'll see what happens as time goes on. Yeah. Bitcoin checking Jan's low right now. Ethereum having a nice move up. Boom. Tengu also exploding to the upside. So, the trade's doing really good. And see how I'm positioned there. It's a nice win. The only way I'm going to throw that hedge on with Fartcoin is if it rejects. And it's Not really doing that. Not yet. I want to see it make a fresh day high. But this is where we are watching it. So I guess we could put on a short here right now on Fartcoin. Let me pull Fartcoin up. Let me see what happens. I'm going to risk... I'll throw on a little bit bigger of a position than what I'm holding on Pingu right now on Fartcoin. I'm just going to send it. All right, I'm filled. Stop loss is going to be tight on it. Fresh day high and I will be out of it. And then I will watch what happens later on. Does it come on up into here, or does it just liquidate the day and roll over? Or does it just roll over from here? We don't know. It does not look like it's trying to roll over. Looks like it is trying to break and go. I don't love the way the volume on the deltas have shifted back above the positive line. Now, I have seen this happen many times, and then a big bearish delta shows up. But I mean, guys, if this was going to roll over, don't you think it would have rolled over yesterday? I mean, this is a legit weekly VWAP retest and a legit support hold. That's the lowest close on a 15-minute chart right on the VWAP. Then you had multiple retests later on in the session, and it held. You did not break down. You did not start putting in fresh lows. You reversed. Nice move back above the daily 21 exponential moving average right here. Never came back. Instead, the VWAP has migrated higher, and higher low support has came in higher. This is the exact opposite of a short setup, right? We don't look to short bullish markets. We look to short bearish markets. Now, Fartcoin is still bearish on the weekly time frame, but on the daily time frame, you're no longer bearish. You're no longer bearish. Looking at the weekly chart, you're up on the week. Yesterday, you set the weekly low. Today, you're setting fresh week highs. That's usually not bearish, but since you're well under the weekly 21, you can say it is bearish. It is bearish. It's down on the year, right? But I mean, the momentum or the order flow right now isn't bearish. Order flow is bullish. Order flow stopped being bearish right in here. This is when the chart changed its entire look. Here's December's open on Fartcoin. This should have told you everything you needed to know right there. Because if you were going to short it based on retesting the month open, right here was the trade. It broke down, tested support, boom, right back above. And then you come back over here, you test the December open, also the weekly open. At this point, price is above the VWAP, telling you that the bulls are in control of order flow, and this holds as support. This was a buying opportunity here. This is when your bearish narrative changed. Like, you were bearish through here, bearish. This is when it changed. If it would have broke down again, then you could be looking for that retest and short. Right here, trying to short it here is literally a gamble. It's like, we think it's going to roll over, or it's more like we hope it's going to roll over. There really isn't a good signal. There is no trend trade. If you want a short one, I think you would have better luck shorting this one. Just make sure your risk is situated, because this thing is moving quite a lot. Even though it doesn't look like it is, that's a 4% move right there in 15 minutes. It's moving. It is moving. And then what was your other one? OKLO. This is in the New York Stock Exchange. I don't know what this is. It has a decent looking chart. It's on sale. Very, very explosive move here. It's giving some of that back. This looks like it got over its skis a lot. Similar to like what Palantir did, right? It was trading at $18 forever, and now it's at 200. It's like, wow. Crazy. So it's probably going to pull back at some point. This did. You have been pulling back now for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. You may be finding support here. The only thing that you can do is simply say, if you're under this, then you're no longer trying to build in support. You are leaving this area. So if this level holds, you could look to be a buyer at 79.01 with a stop loss setting somewhere below that. Or if you don't think it's going to go back there, you could simply say, well, if it holds December's open moving forward in time, then you could potentially be a buyer at 88.54. All right, looking at USAR, and okay, that's it. Got it. I accidentally closed my Bitcoin hedge on Friday, miscapturing the recent downside. What are my options? The same? The same. You wait for a bounce and then you put it back on, right? Nobody knows what price will do, so I can't tell you where Bitcoin will reverse. Obviously, I can't tell you how high it will go or how high it won't go, right? It's impossible for me to know that. Basically, what you're still well under the daily 21 exponential moving average on Bitcoin. You lost it this weekend and you got that big downside move. So this is the move you missed as you accidentally closed out your hedge. You could wait for a bounce. You could sell it here if you think it's going to roll over here. Just make sure you have a stop loss, right? As long as you're trading under December's open, you could say, I want to be holding a hedge, and then maybe turn that hedge off when it's back to positive on the month. I honestly think that it's going to be difficult to hedge it out, and I think a lot of people are going to get chopped up. This was a pretty big move, right? What's likely going to happen going into the rest of the year, you're not going to see, most likely, right? Obviously, I don't know, but you're most likely not going to see another big, gigantic drop in the next week. You're not going to see this happen in a week. Most likely, you're going to trade in between here and maybe here. It's probably going to do a whole lot of this. If it breaks out above this stuff, then you're probably going to set a little bit higher of a price range. You know what I mean? So you got to wait for the highs of the next price range to look to hedge or throw hedges on. Or if you have access to options, you could just decide how much you want to spend on a hedge because you're buying insurance. Don't look at it as a trade. Look at it as more along the lines of, I own blank amount of Bitcoin. I want to spend blank amount to protect that Bitcoin. So if you own, say you own 100 grand worth of Bitcoin, I want to spend 10 grand to protect the 100 grand. You don't have to spend that much. 1/10 is quite a lot for a hedge, but you know, just you could just buy premium. Go out, say, I own as far out as 400 days. I own a little bit further out. Puts, on iBit. I'm not going to tell you what I spent. I situated basically this trade for everybody already weeks ago, and we figured that if you owned $50,000 worth of Bitcoin, you could hedge out that $50,000 worth of Bitcoin for about $2,500. So if you own 100 grand worth of Bitcoin, you should be able to spend $5,000 and hedge that 100K. And basically what that means is if Bitcoin drops down to a specific price point, you could own a put. That way, if it does, that put will then come into parity with the 100 grand. And then you're just literally buying insurance. Like when you pay for insurance, you're just paying the premium. It's so if you go to the hospital, they will cover, the majority of the bill. It's covering your downside losses. You don't have to hedge it with futures. You can hedge it with options. It's a little bit more difficult, but you can put the same trade on futures. You just have to do the math to figure out how big of a position size to put on, how much leverage to put on that position, and how wide to have your stop. Because you're looking to spend the money anyway. You're not looking for that. You're not looking to make a profitable trade, if you know what I mean. Like, it's just money you're spending to protect your Bitcoin. If you're trying to make money on a short, like I did in 2022, then that is going to be a lot different of a setup, right? Your Bitcoin that you own is going to come into parity much quicker if you're looking to make money on the short. So what are you planning to do, right? Obviously, everybody wants to hedge their Bitcoin. I get it. But you got to ask yourself, are you willing to spend money to do that? If so, just do puts and you don't even have to worry about futures. You could buy like an iBit put. It's not that expensive to buy. You can buy 10 of them or 20 of them or however much Bitcoin you own. Right now you're trading at $50, right? So if you look at iBit in the terms of this follows Bitcoin's price, is this going to go to zero? Only if Bitcoin does. Only if Bitcoin goes to zero. So at what point do you want that hedge to start kicking in? That's what you have to ask yourself. People see this and it makes them, they're afraid. They honestly think that it's going to do this again tomorrow. Like, we'll be down to $30 on iBit next week. That's not going to happen. Most likely, you're going to see a lot of sideways to up price action from here. The near-term lows, these lows right here, are probably in for a while. Seeing how yesterday you got almost down there and literally gapped up today. This is a short squeeze. Everybody that shorted iBit yesterday are stuck today. They're stuck today. This is called a gap and go. When you see a gap and go, it usually means all these people are stuck. They went in there, they bought puts, and today those puts are getting closed because it gapped up. And now it's running to the upside. This was a fake out move, in other words. So I think you're probably going to see a significant bounce. You're probably going to see it get higher than what people think it will. So all you got to do is go back and look in all of Bitcoin's bear markets. There's not enough data to look at iBit, but if you go to Bitcoin and go to the Bitstamp chart, because Bitstamp has all Bitcoin data, look at the weekly chart. Just look at the last bear market, right? You made the low in February. You made a fresh low in March, but then it rejected, and then you made another fresh low in April. That's months. February, March, April. And it barely made any lower lows. Did it make lower lows? Yes. But was it like down here? No. It was just barely. And if you don't like that, go look at the bear market that happened in 2022. So we are here. We are here right now. I've already seen people on Twitter putting this exact chart overlaying the chart we have today. I already made this comparison by comparing the death cross that we saw back in here with the same as what we saw this time, right? So I already kind of made that comparison. You don't need to put on the fractal tool. That isn't going, the same isn't going to play out. There's a whole different, you got different market participants than the people that participated in here. But anyway, you can see how when you did make that low, price spent almost 15 weeks before you then broke down and made fresh lows. So this is that sideways stuff that I'm talking about that we're probably going to see. Right? Then you want to be looking to put your hedge on up on these highs. But first you got to wait for that range to situate itself. So how will you know? Well, it'll be simple. You just opened a new monthly candle. You just opened a new monthly candle. So wait for this. This candle's going to close. It'll close. When it closes, where's the high? Where's the low? Is it a candle that looks like... Is it going to look like this? Well, that's what everybody on Twitter thinks is going to do. It might do that. So watch this price right here, 100K. Maybe put your hedge on there. Right? It could go as high as 105. It could go as high as 110. But right now you're in price discovery. So right now you're trading inside of this range. You do not have to worry about this low getting taken out down here unless what is happening? Unless you're trading under this low. So until that happens, there's no point in thinking it's going to. It hasn't happened. It did happen. We just set a monthly low and we're right back up to the open. So now it looks like price wants to set a monthly high. It's our job to figure out where that high might end up being. So it's at a very significant price right now because it is at the monthly open. That's how we mitigate risk on this channel. So we can hold a short as long as it's under that, but we don't want to if it's above it, because at that point you've changed. You've changed the structure of the chart. You could be doing something like this. You could be making one of those bad boys. You're not yet, but eventually it probably will. So right now, the only prices to even concern yourself with are these two levels. These are it. All right, and this is what we got. So if we're above this price, it's probably going there at the very minimum. And that looks like this. So right now, as long as you're under this, the threat is that it could go lower. If you're above this, the threat is where? Here. So you can use this price for the rest of the month to mitigate risk. Now, it's up to you as a trader to identify when price does this. Right? That's your job. Your job is to not sell here, get stopped out, sell, or not just the sell here, get stopped out on all these peaks. Because you're anticipating this. That's what everybody's anticipating. What nobody's anticipating is this. And this is literally what could happen. So it will be your job, if you put your risk on here, don't eat more than 2 stops. Right? It's very difficult what we do. It's not easy. If it was easy, everybody could do it. It's the emotions that make most people losing traders. Most people can't set in a long trade that is literally doing what my long trade is doing right now. Most people can't do that for whatever reason. Most people have already shorted Fartcoin 37 times today. And price told us really quickly when to stop trying to sell it. Right? It's already told us. We don't want to be shorting it, as it's doing the opposite of being short. So where Fartcoin is right now, it almost looks like it's trying to do what? It looks like it's trying to go after November's high. So maybe watch that level and then see what happens. It doesn't have to get up there. We don't know where it's going to reverse. We don't know if it's going to reverse. We just know where to look for the reversal. You could also simply be shorting it right here, because that is another weekly swing high. But like I said, most people have already been beat up today. Most people aren't patient. They can't see the chart and be like, this is doing something different. Mostly because they're looking at 5-minute charts only. They're not paying attention to what is actually transpiring. They're only looking at 5-minute candles. I like looking at 4-hour candles myself, because it literally tells me what's going on. So this is a consolidation zone right here. You've already broken back out above resistance here. So this is the price range that price is trading above or in. So it makes it very simple for me to mitigate risk. If it's trading above this, I don't want to be short. If it rejects here, then I can be short and I can target this price. That's all I do. Like, what I do is not special. Well, there you go. So I knew, like, here that I don't want to be selling this any longer. Something else is going on. But here is the week open, right? So Bitcoin is still technically a potential short. Fartcoin is not. Right here is the week open on Fartcoin. That's why yesterday we were looking for the short on Fartcoin. We made money on it, but it was very nerve-wracking, to say the least. But ultimately that short got stopped out because we were wrong on direction. You're wrong on direction here. So now we have to decide, is it going to stop here? Maybe, right? Maybe. We don't know that it will, but we can put the risk on if it fails to get back above that. So you can use your 5-minute charts, but it's your job as the trader to identify when your trade is not working and then stop trying it. That's all. That's all you have to do. When you firmly understand that you can't predict price, you will start making money in the market. Most people don't make money in the market because they think they can still predict what price will do. And yeah, they'll stop doing that once they fully understand that nobody has that strategy. There is no strategy that will do that. None. Some of us are just better at managing risk than others. But yeah, I mean, we'll see if it continues. I don't love hedging out Bitcoin here, but it still is under the weekly open. So I just think you're probably going to see a lot of sideways, choppy price action, but I could absolutely be wrong too. So here you are. You are now testing the level to watch for a rejection on Bitcoin. Now, which also means Farcoin is literally right now putting on the trade. If it's going to reject and go lower, then it will do so here, right? So, boom. Throw it on, stop right here. Now, but Farcoin, remember, it isn't bearish. It's not a short as far as what we look for shorts. Really nothing is right now. Everything is squeezing stops. The shorts are being squeezed super hard right here. It's hard for me to even want to step in and put the short on here, knowing what I know. How many stops am I going to eat right here before I decide to say no? I'm going to take profits on Pingu pretty soon, because I do believe these things will start to pull back soon. But damn, like on the hourly, you're just now hitting oversold. There's not really anything that indicates that it can't keep going. The 4-hour looks real good for upside continuation. The 4-hour was also a good thing to identify when the short trade was not working, when it bounced off of the 50. Like, they bought the December open during the London session. And you're seeing that upside continuation happen. It's very volatile, I'll tell you that. Farcoin is moving. I put on the short and instantly got stopped out just now. It's very volatile. Limit the amount of attempts you give yourself. Limit the amount of money you lose on trying to short it. All right. The USA chart is terrifying. Yeah, it's ugly. It's disgusting. But maybe if it pulls back to 10, we can take a look at it. I don't know about it. China says so. What then? Put their tail between their legs? Oh, I don't know. See, here's the thing. Everybody's got the same tech. Everybody's pretty much equal when it comes to war games now. This is a massive short squeeze. Bitcoin is now back to positive on the month. Obviously, Bitcoin will probably start to pull back, but people are going to be looking to buy it. They're going to wait for the 4-hour chart to look like this. Right? Then they're going to look to buy it for the next potential rally. You're into an old area of support. or resistance. So yeah, but it's not, it doesn't look like a good short. You're back to positive on the month. Okay, let me look here. Pingu probably needs to be, Jesus. I should probably take some profits on this thing. Let me set some profits. It's up $1,000, $1,100. It's a good trade. I gotta move this back up. That's screwing with me. So yeah, we'll watch this previous week's high, but as long as we're trading above it, we don't want to put the short on because it could be threatening to run above that other weekly high. That's the next liquidation point from last week. You've already told the sellers that they're wrong on direction. If you look at the rest of the markets, look at the S&P 500 today. It's pushing up. Could this be where it finds resistance? Absolutely. But I don't love it. Oil also is probably a long because oil is testing the VWAP. I will show you that chart. I was actually looking at it earlier and I forgot to tell you guys about it. So if we look at oil here, I don't love oil as a long. It's clearly bearish. It's clearly terrible, ugly, right? But you just tested yesterday's open. This is going to be old. And rejected yesterday's open. So if oil goes back into this, which you probably won't now because of that reaction, I think I can buy it. So I will be looking for longs on oil. That price is $58.36. I will close that if oil drops under $58.36. All right. But today I will be focused on potentially buying oil. The chart looks bad, but it's just a bearish hedge, an inflationary hedge. So right here's the price. It's just yesterday's open. That's daily support. So if we can stay trading above that moving forward, I want to buy oil. All right, going back out to these other things. Let me take profits on this trade real quick as I'm up almost 500%. I probably shouldn't, but it's such a small position. There's really no point. But I'll just put the position back on again later. It's a good day. It's a good week. I love volatility, man. Let's go 470. No, 462. And then we'll close 75%. Making that about 854. And we'll adjust it. And this thing hasn't even really got going. Oh wait, this is a weekly. Sorry, I thought I was looking at the 4 hour. We want to get filled on an upswing. Probably going to have to go in tighter. Oh, that's too much. I'm watching Fartcoin. It's closing 5-minute candles above. Now would be the time to try the Fartcoin short one last time. Okay, I got filled on that because you closed a 5-minute candle. So we'll try it stop at the high of day. This is what I'm looking at. So you close the higher 5-minute candle, it's 10:21. So if it's going to pull back, it'll probably do it now. Take profit on this since we ate a nasty fill. It's going to be 2.5 to 3%. So right there, you can take profits. If you get filled on this, just getting to there is 3.5%. Take profits. If you get down into here, take profits. Stop loss, simple. High day. It's making fresh day high after fresh day high. You just made 3 fresh day highs here. Will it pull back? Yeah, probably. But when? That's the impossible answer. We're almost an hour from the open, so if it's going to pull back, now seems like a good time. You've got 8 minutes left until this close, though. So maybe wait for this close. Because this is above the day high right now. Your first 30-minute candle above the day high. What I would like to see is this to close like on mid or up in here. Then take the sell, because everybody that shorted it here got stopped out there. Then they tried it again. Well, then they got stopped out again. So now this thing's probably going to close higher. And it'll be so easy because the next 30-minute candle is going to open wherever this 30-minute candle closes. Then you can simply take that short on the close. So if it closes here, you could short it and set a stop tight and see if you get a reversal. It's getting pretty extended. You did have an hour worth of pullback, so 1, 2 more up. If you open and just start pushing back to the upside, then it's not done pulling back. Nothing else is bearish out there. Like risk markets, they're testing the month open right now. So I could make the argument that I could put on a short right now based on what it's testing right now. There's 5 minutes left on the close. Five minutes left on the close. So this candle's about to close. Yeah, it was massively oversold earlier. I mean, overbought. I get the words oversold, overbought mixed up. But you're bullish. Your deltas are bullish. Doesn't look like a short trade. All right, back to answer or questions. Goodness, that quarterly shadow on USAR. Yeah, it's disgusting. That's my case for it, though. They're the only U.S. side rare earth magnet distributor. Gotcha. Yeah, I think Wes is interested in that company as well. Hi, Heath. It appears MicroStrategy got some volume. Still doubtful if yesterday's bounce is just a short squeeze. Do you think it will revisit weekly open for double bottom? Wait. It's already kind of done that. MicroStrategy's been oversold for 4 weeks. This is week number 4. This just got started, this weekly candle. Just got started yesterday. So your low of the week is probably in. This thing needs a bounce. It could use a bounce. It's probably going to get one if Bitcoin bounces. This is the first real good bounce Bitcoin has gotten on a normal trading session. Last week, all of this was done through Thanksgiving week. So thin liquidity. Go back before that week and you really didn't see any, like, this is not a big bullish bounce. Look at the size of those 4-hour candles. That's Sunday. My bad. Here's Tuesday. Look at the size of those bullish 4-hour candles compared to the size of the one you're seeing now. So this is the first, this candle is the first real Bitcoin bounce we've gotten since the downtrend. People are going to be looking for upside continuation on this. If you look at other indicators, for instance, this. All right, go out though. Go out a month. Don't be just looking at the 24-hour. The 24-hour is pretty exhausted. You've exhausted a lot of the upside. But if you go out, right, and look at it, there's not much liquidity down here. Like, especially in through here, there's nothing. Very spotty, very thin areas. Here is a thin area, so it's possible we pull back from here, but look at up here. That's probably where it's heading longer term. It doesn't have to. It could liquidate here and roll over. Nobody knows, but the fact that you're seeing this expansion means everybody is stuck from yesterday's open. Stuck. So I honestly think you're going to see last week's high get smoked on MicroStrategy. And I could use it. Because I bought it when it first went into oversold. I bought it on that Friday, and then I bought more on this week because I thought for sure last week was going to give us a bounce. But last week was Thanksgiving. I was kind of hoping we got the bullish squeeze through thin liquidity last week. We did see that on S&P, but Bitcoin was lagging. Bitcoin was just lagging. S&P was super bullish last week. Super bullish. No, it's about time Bitcoin is catching up. Last week, boom, like you exploded above the weekly high expected range and closed 2 more days above it. The shorts got wrangled last week. Think about the people that shorted on Wednesday thinking this was too extended. Needs to pull back. They got smoked. You're starting to see a little bit of a rejection now. Because the futures is checking the month open. Well, not the exact futures, but the CFD product. You're checking November's open. We wanted to see what would happen if we got above November's high. If we get up into here and then reject, then I will put on that 6100 strike put again. But with what the yen is doing today, I don't think you're going to see that. The yen is like on fire. Maybe it's done. Maybe it's done. That high is 488, 500. So you did get it. My cat just turned on my printer. Get your hands out of there. You're gonna get hurt. My cat is laying on my printer and it's making noises, so hopefully it doesn't hurt the cat. Yeah, more than likely it's not done. This thing rejected off the 21 exponential. You just set a fresh day high, fresh week high, all that good stuff. You just smoked November's high though. So this is the level that I'm interested in shorting. As long as we're above it, I don't want to be holding a short. And I will be like that for the rest of the month. So today's going to be important for me on the yen. I have other positions on here, USD, Swissy. Oh, let's talk about that real quick and then I'll answer the rest of the questions because you guys should know what's going on with that. Really, really, really. So that way you know that I'm not just talking out of one side of my head. So basically the BOJ has already came out and said, UADA, which is the main guy for the BOJ, has said there is more likely going to be a rate hike in December. And we are looking at the US Fed going to cut in December. So that's going to bring that carry trade that was at one point 5%. Now it's only going to be 3%. So if you look at the interest rates on USD Japan, on the long end of the yield curve, there's not really a carry. It's the carry on the short end, right? On the short end, that's where the carry is. USD or Japan is at 0.5, US is at 3.8, 3.75. So another 25 bip cut, you're going to see this drop down to 350. This is going to go up to 75. So this is going to tighten even more than it already has tightened. All right. They have signaled it. They have it at 80% probability. So here are direct impacts on the U.S. economy. Impact from a BOJ hike. Yen strengthens. USD JPY drops. Pressuring USD lower. So rate cuts on the dollar should, in theory, make the dollar weak. Yen hikes should, in theory, make the yen stronger. Right? Now, the government is going to vote on that huge stimulative package. Massive stimulus package. That's going to happen in December or January. They're going to vote on it. So once that vote goes through, we'll know, are they going to or are they not going to approve it? That, I think, is when you'll see potential movement in the yen. All right. But I also, so like positive drivers, because it's good to have both sides. Obviously, the U.S. lowering interest rates is tailwinds for the stock market. Historically speaking, that means later on, the more they cut, the more the risk markets like it. Negative drivers, yen strength unwinds over 500 billion in carry trades, pressuring risk markets. Yield ripple higher, JGB yields 2-year up to 1 could push US 10-year yields to 4.2%. Now let's go look at the US yields because they're doing something they should not be doing. Look at the 30-year yield. This is the opposite of what it should be doing this week. Last week, we thought we were good with the short on the 30-year yield. We're actually long the 10-year. We should have gotten long the 30-year bond, but we did it wrong. But anyway, we were looking for this to continue. This week, you're back up. So it's not so much if it liquidates that we're worried, right? Because you have 2 monthly swing highs here. That's 773, 775. That's the higher wick right there. So what we're concerned about, or anybody that's watching the 30-year long-term bonds, we're not so much concerned about it being up here. We're concerned about what happens when it gets up there. Does it break out? If so, if this happens while the Fed is literally cutting interest rates, that's going to be very negative. So just simply by the yen, they own more US debt than any other nation at trillions. The number 2 person that owns more US debt, China. So if the yen hikes, which they're going to, that could cause people that are investing in the long-term bond, they could fly back or repatriate, right, back into the yen because they're getting a high yield in America, but they can go right back to their country. That means the yield will spike, right? There's no demand for U.S. long-term bonds if the biggest bond holder repatriates and goes back to their own country. That will cause yields to spike. That is not good. So keep your eyes on the 30-year yield and keep your eyes on 3778 or 3775. If you're pushing above that, that's not great. Then you definitely want to have hedges on. You definitely probably want to be short USD versus the Japan yen. That doesn't mean the trade is going to work today or even this week. All right. So I'm okay eating a couple stop losses here. Now, this is, like I said earlier at the beginning of the stream, this is the more negative scenario. This is the less likely scenario to play out, because if this scenario does play out, that could have really devastating implications for the U.S. economy and U.S. stock market. We're already seeing billionaires start to take profits like they're not, you know what I mean? Like, people are on edge right now. You're already seeing the fear-based indicators say, yeah, we're at highs, but nobody believes that we're supposed to be there. So you have all that going on. This will be, if this trade plays out, which it's the obvious trade to play out, this will be a opportunity for the have-nots to be the haves. You don't want to go sell your house and short the USDJPY on 50x leverage. I'm not saying that. I'm simply saying, if it plays out, you could see a redistribution of wealth. You could be in on that redistribution. 140 is literally where, if it drops to and under, that you will see the shit hit the fan. So you have missed nothing. You will miss nothing if you get stopped out. So you don't need to force this trade every single day, is what I'm saying. You will know when this starts to play out. If it starts to play out, you will know, because you will see this start to drop like a rock. Then you can go in there and look for your positioning. If it gets under this down in here, the measured move breakdown puts you like down into the 120s. All of this is the carry trade. All of this is that $500 billion right here. So if that begins to unwind, That is the less likely scenario. But it doesn't hurt to try to put that position on once a week. Only risk a small amount of money, because if you're right on it long term, this trade will pay you a lot of money. That's all I'm saying. Like, it's worth the risk to me to put it on once a week. So wait for the weekly highs. We're trading on week highs right now. So that's why I want to be here. First trade here. If it stops me out, I'll wait for here. If I get stopped out there, I'll wait for here. Because I know eventually, if it does start to roll over, you're going to get paid. But at some point, we got to stop forcing it. But this could be really, really bad for U.S. stock markets. This literally has the potential to be like a very bearish driver. Hopefully it doesn't. Like I said, there are two different ways you have to view this. You have to look at positive drivers, because you don't want to force the issue. There are potential positives. There aren't just negatives on this. There is still a very two-sided trade here. Very much so. But the proponents of a 2008 style financial collapse is coming, and it's coming soon. This has the propensity to make that a possibility. This is something that could be very devastating. We've been talking about this very trade for months, though, and it hasn't played out yet. So that's the reality of the situation. Reality of the situation is I put this first trade on back here when I thought this trend was going to continue. It didn't. It broke out to the upside and went back and retested the year open range, which is here. We've rejected the yearly opening range, but we have not rejected it in a big way. So we're not seeing that yen strength yet. If this starts happening to the yen, then you will start to see outsized big moves happening on this asset. I got stopped out of Fartcoin, by the way. That thing blasted off. There you go. Jesus. Super, super bearish. All right. Yeah, I hope MicroStrategy bounces pretty soon. If not, I'm going to have to close that out and look to reposition much lower. Crypto has been an underperformer for the year, been eyeing some capital rotation into it. Honestly, it's down on the year for right now. That's a fact. It is very much down on the year. Not just Bitcoin, crypto as a whole. The crypto market does what Bitcoin does. Yearly opening range for Bitcoin we're above it right now, actually. Right? Oh, no, we're not. Okay, we're still under it. I thought that was down here for some reason. Yeah, we're just under it. Just under it. Back above this yellow line, you're back to up on the year. So you could see a nasty up move. This short squeeze could have legs. Look at Pingu now. I mean, this is brutal. It's a beautiful brutalness, but it's brutal. Check out Hut 8. Hammered at the open, but that company is good. Hut 8. I've never heard of that. Oh, it's just Hut. It's getting hammered today. There might be news on this. No news today. Hut 8, is it got something to do with Bitcoin? Obviously, it's getting beat up on a day that Bitcoin is super bullish. I don't know what this does or what it is, but yeah, it's getting hammered. I probably wouldn't want to buy it. Not while it's doing that. There's no news on it. Not that I can see. This has something to do with Bitcoin. There was a split last or 2023. It's pulling back last month. So because last month broke the lows and bounced, I guess you could still watch that open, but chances are if it gets down into here, it's definitely wanting to go to 31. It got a little bit over its skis. It had a big breakout and 1 month of upside continuation. So it's volatile. It's just really volatile. $31.67 is the price to watch. Let's see what it's doing on the weekly. And then obviously the 50, 27.32 or 27.46. Sorry. It's got too much volatility in it today to buy it, but I would like last week's open will be important for this because that's where the 21 is. If they're going to buy it there, like they did the last 2 weeks, then that's where you would want to see price stop going lower. But there's a lot of volatility in it today, for sure. It did get hammered on the bell, and it's continuing to push. It's like doing the opposite of the crypto market today. Look at Fartcoin go, man. That's a monster liquidation. You just liquidated the month of November. Oh my goodness. Okay. Give me a second. Looking at stuff. Yeah, I've got that. How can that only be an 83? You just liquidated everything. Probably going to pull back a little bit now, but this is massive. This is a massive short squeeze taking place. Oh. It doesn't have 50 monthly candles. I mean, weekly candles. Yeah, this short squeeze can last for days. Gigantic rally. Look at that beast going. I mean, I'm still long, but I barely have anything on it. It's hard to buy it now, especially. But it can pull back today and find some support maybe tomorrow or the next day. I don't think you're going to see these things like just dump now. S&P 500 is blasted through the monthly open. Previous month's high is where I'm interested in watching for potential shorts on the S&P. Not here. When you called another possible short entry on FART just now, what was your key? The what? Q. That bounce may be happening at the last candle. No, I got stopped out. Like, you got to set stops. Just no Q. It was an hour after the market. Like, there was no rant. There was no legitimate setup here. I've been saying that all morning. There is no legitimate setup to be shorting Fartcoin, period. The last time that Fartcoin said it was a short, it smoked it. When you're trading above your monthly opens, your weekly opens, and your weekly and monthly VWAPs, you're no longer bearish. Order flow is up. All I said is if you're trying to short it, you could try to short it at the last 5-minute close because it was the highest close. That is it. Clearly, you have to set stops because of this shit. You have a lot of intraday chaos and all that. Not good setup. Not a good setup. It still isn't. If you're trying to short Fartcoin, you're literally trying to tell the market something that isn't happening. It's been bullish all day. It was bullish yesterday. Yesterday, at the close, Fartcoin signaled a long. You closed above the 21. That was the end of the bearish signal. Like, bearish trade over. If it's going to be a trap, I would have expected it to just get a little bit above the previous day's high and then reject. That never took place. That didn't happen. Yeah. I got stopped out of Fartcoin twice today. The only reason was because I was trying to hedge off just in case Pingu stopped going up. It didn't. It's still going up. This squeeze could last. Pingu looks probably like it would be more overbought. It is. Yeah, you've hit well into the 90s. You got to 97 on the 5-minute. Here, you hit 97, and this is a legitimate short squeeze taking place right now. You don't want to try to get in front of that. Yeah, there was no short signal. None. I said watch Pippin. It still hasn't done what we want to see yet either. So even be careful with this thing because it's being manipulated to the upside. You don't want to short it because you're paying the longs. So if you sell this, like say you sell it here at yesterday's high, every single hour you're going to go further and further in the red because the longs, shorts are paying the longs every hour. And when that's happening, you don't, like, everybody's buying it. They're buying dips just to get the funding fees. When that's taking place, also, you don't want to be a seller. But what I said is if it's going to pull back because it's already experienced a pretty massive move, then maybe when it liquidates today, that's a random trade as well. That is not a short signal either. There was no short setup today. It's for the people that just love to short. They just want to short because it's up. That's their reasoning. It's up, I must short. That's not what we do here. That's what I'm doing on this, right? It's up, therefore I must short. This is still very bullish. Very bullish. You don't want to get in front of things that are very bullish. They keep going. There's no limit. There's no limit to how high an asset can go. That's why I'm trying to get people to stop being so negatively always looking for shorts, because you can only make 100% on a short times leverage you use. So on a 20x short on Fartcoin, you can only ever make 2,000%. Ever. That's max. And that's if it goes to zero. You can make 10,000%, 1,000,000% to the upside. Shorts are... Retail loves to do them the most, and they're the most volatile and most difficult to actually become profitable on. What indicator above your RSI? What chart? It's probably the cumulative volume delta. This is the RSI. If you're talking about this is just cumulative volume delta. It tells me what the order flow looks like. So on Fartcoin, this indicator, it's called cumulative volume delta. It's right here. You can pause the video. It's just an indicator. Nobody built it. It's a trading view tool. Cumulative volume delta. It shows you who has, where the deltas are skewed. So if the deltas are skewed to the upside, that means the bulls are more violent. If the delta is skewed to the downside, it means the bears are more violent. That does not mean that price will continue to go that direction. So on this pullback here, you can see how delta was clearly negative. Clearly negative here. So looking to short the rally would have been the first trade if it was bearish on the week or bearish on the month. Since it isn't, it's not the best trade setup. But if it was, you'd be looking to short the pop. This can still happen. It's just an indicator. Indicators don't mean price is going to do something. Please keep that in mind. Because it continued to rally. Very much so. Yeah. But if you can use the delta with volume profile, sometimes that can help you. That's not session volume profile. Sometimes that can help you identify where the sellers or the buyers are. So for instance, before this ginormous breakout, your volume looked like this and your deltas were bearish. So in the Discord, we said we could watch the November, you stupid cat. And we said we could watch the November open. If it rejected there, we could put on a short. It didn't reject there. It didn't reject. But that's typically what you want to look for. But like I said, you want to do that when price is under the VWAP, under the monthly, weekly open, when it's clearly weak, clearly bearish. Whenever you get back above your weekly or monthly open, you're no longer bearish. The bears are no longer in control. So whenever you continue to try to short something like that, that means you are literally telling the market that you know what it's going to do. So once we started to break out above all this stuff, we no longer liked it to the sell side. WDC Digital hammered this. Oh, that WDC Western Digital hammered this morning. Okay, so if it looks like HUT, it's not something we buy. We don't try to buy in a lot of bearish momentum. No. Why would you try to buy a falling knife? Nope. Let it pull back. Let it find support. It can go much lower. It is a great looking chart, or it was when it broke out. It has been on the absolute tear all year long. Yeah, so it's got to pull back. This will be the range that is situated for monthlies. So you can't be a buyer until it gets down into here, because that's the range. And it doesn't mean it will bounce again when it gets here. But if it is going to consolidate, if it is going to stay in this range, then you want to be a buyer in this area. And then you want to see a bounce. Right? You want to see it bounce. You want to see it hold. Then you can buy it. Don't try to buy it just because it's pulling back fast. It's very bearish today. No level of support. I mean, you've got previous day lows down here. That's it, right? Day low, day low, day low. It's probably going to smoke that. This has a lot of bearish momentum. Down almost 7%. Be careful buying bearish momentum. We like to buy support when nobody's looking at it. So right now, there's people, everybody's watching it because it's so volatile. Yesterday, it had a lot of volume. Above normal. See, like the difference between yours and mine, like this is also nasty, right? Also ugly. But what's the difference between your chart and my chart? The difference is my chart is building in support. You have failed to close a daily under it. This one did. That one didn't. This one didn't. That one didn't. This one didn't. That one didn't. That's the difference. See how this is building in support. It's even better if volume confirms that support, but it's not. You're trading on average, like volumes are average here. So that's why this has been on the watch list. We've been talking about this thing since last week. The trade desk. Looking for a bounce at potential support. Support is holding. So these are the things you want to try to buy. Once you get to the level, and then give it a few days to see if it's even going to try to build support there. If it does, then you can take the trade. Then you set your stop below the low. So That way, at least now you know traders are in fact trying to buy this. You don't want to try to buy a support until you get this kind of price action. Because it could just blast right through there and keep going like what MicroStrategy did. Right? So same trade on MicroStrategy would have been here, right? Look what happened when it came into it. So this is the level we would have been watching. We would have been saying, if it can build in support here, we'll buy it. Boom. Okay, gap down, closed back above it. Perfect. If it refuses to close another daily under it, I'll buy it and put my stop down below this low. Okay, there's the long. You would buy it. At least you got 1 day bounce. But if you close a day under it, it's not holding any longer. This day right here, that close would have told you your support has broken. Your support has broken because you closed the day under it. And then the next day, boom. So that would have stopped everybody out that tried to buy those weak lows. You don't want to just buy it because it's a level. You want to make sure price is holding that level. So down here, it was an old swing high. See how these monthly wicks, right? These monthly wicks couldn't close higher than here. Monthly wick, monthly wick, monthly wick, monthly wick, wick. And then there's the breakout. Boom. So now it's coming back in. There's a monthly wick. Now we're not going to wait on the monthlies to build up like this. We want to see that holding on a daily closing basis. Did it hold here? It's debatable. We could objectively know if it is or not. It closed at 170.50. The line is 170.46. So did this daily support hold on a daily close? Yes, it did. Okay. Did it do it again? Yes. Did it do it again? Yes. All right. So you can buy it. When will you get out of the trade? On the next red day close under. So if you gap down tomorrow and close a daily candle that looks like this, you're getting out of the trade because your support no longer holding. That's the difference between buying support when it's holding versus just buying it on the first test. It's got to hold support. It's got to build in support. We don't know that it will continue to hold. We can't see that. That's in the future. That hasn't taken place yet. But we can buy that price and hold it as long as days are not closing under. When you get the first day under close, you bail. Or you can make a new rule set and say 3 consecutive day closes under the level that I want to be support, then I will bail. Because sometimes you will get 1 day close under and then it'll gap back up the next day. You just got to make sure your position isn't over leveraged or too big. As long as you can sit in that pain, then you can make it however you want to make it. You can make it on weekly closes. As long as you're not closing weeklies under 170.46, you can hold along from 170.46. That's how you do it. All right. You find the obvious support resistance level and then wait for price to at least give you a couple days of that support, showing you it's holding. HOA, welcome to the house. Way behind on the stream though. Yeah, it's okay. Just making sure that ZEC making that move as well. Yeah, we figured ZEC would pull back. It did. It pulled back. We had a downside target of 50% off. It hit my downside target. So now I'm done with ZEC. It's done and over with. We were shorting ZEC up here. We actually started shorting it up here. This was the first day we shorted it. Right here. We shorted it on that 4-hour wick. Boink. That was the short. This was the long-term downside target. It played out. It's done. It lost over 50% of its value. So it's going to go into price discovery now. Oh, it did. It got down to 57%. So it'll probably go into price discovery and set a new range. I mean, this thing needed to pull back. The RSI was way overcooked. Way overcooked. You hit 97 on a weekly, or 95. It was just massively overbought. You never want to buy an asset that is 97 or 95 on the RSI on a weekly chart, because a pullback is coming. We started talking about the pullback on this week right here. It took a long time for it to play out, but it played out. We did make money on it. We lost money on it too a couple times. XMR is different. XMR is the leader in this space. ZEC trades, or its market cap is like 500 billion. I mean, sorry, 500 million with an M. The market cap on XMR is 6.5 billion. So it's way bigger. Way bigger. This is the leader in the space. This one trades different than ZEC Dash and Litecoin because this one is not traded on Coinbase or Binance. Since this is not traded on regular exchanges, it does not trade like other assets. Another thing that keeps this thing pumped. People that go into it, they go into it because they like the privacy. So if they're trying to hide a bunch of money, they hide it in this thing. They're not going to sell just because the market's down, right? Because the minute they sell, that money pops back into existence. So your golden hands, if you will, or your diamond hands in XMR are going to stay there for a while. Will it still sell off? Of course, eventually, but it's not going to sell off just because you have a crypto-wide market sell-off. Be careful if you're trading XMR. Offshore exchanges offer futures on it, but it's just not enough. So like when you have rapid sell-offs, that isn't going to spark fear and panic into like the regular people. And since that doesn't happen, this doesn't trade with normal emotions. So we quit trading it, period. Regardless of what it's doing right now. Don't look at XMR and say, well, it's still pretty overbought on the weekly. and everything else is in a bear market, so this should also go into a bear market. It doesn't work that way. This is a privacy token. It's literally like one of the legit old school, the SEC and IRS hate this asset. Okay? So I'm not trading it anymore. I'm not looking for shorts on it. I'm just done trading it. It doesn't trade like other crypto assets. Therefore, I have no edge in it. This thing has been being bought up. Every weekly 21 retest has been a buying opportunity on this. Buying opportunity, buying opportunity, buying opportunity. Until it starts closing weeklies under it, then maybe I will look for that short opportunity. But for right now, this thing is still super bullish. Not even interested until it can at least take out last week's low. And then I won't be interested in it. It's got to do a lot more. This thing, people like this thing. People love it. And like I said, these big down moves are not going to cause wide, like market-wide sell-offs. Just doesn't happen. XMR is a real privacy OG. Physical storage like WDC has lagged. The AI trade reminds me of gold juniors. Yeah, could be it. Thoughts on TLT for a long-term hold? Okay, so we discussed the rates a little bit earlier, the yields, the bonds. So TLT is inverse to the 20-year yield, right? So it trades inverse to this. As long as it's trading. Okay, let me just pull up the TLT. So notice what you've just done here on the TLT. You've basically broke down and smoked these lows. So if it can hold support here, moving forward, you can buy TLT. If you start closing daily candles under 88.65, you cannot be a buyer because then it is breaking down. If it starts breaking down, I do not want to buy it. Ultimately, I think 88.65 will be a good place to be long the TLT if the BOJ doesn't hike, if the US does cut, and if Japan and the US start talking about ways to fix this potential doom trade that could happen in the future. I'm sure they're going to be working on it. I'm sure they are. They don't want that to happen no more than anybody else. But this is a nasty gap down. Nasty. These are daily candles. So basically, I was long from here. I got long the 2-year. 10-year, sorry. Not the TLT. I got long, like, I guess the TNX would be something kind of equal to it. So you can see why I bought it, right? Support, support, support. Support, support, support. I got the move I wanted because I bought this last week or in November. So I ultimately did get the move I wanted to see. It did build in support. It did hold. It did work. And if rate cuts are coming in December, theoretically, this should be a higher low. if rate cuts are going to continue, theoretically speaking, this will go up. That's what the rate cuts are for. But if they hike in the BOJ and people start to sell the yen carry trade unwind, this has the potential to break down. And that would be very problematic for the US and the Fed, because they're cutting, but yet interest rates are skyrocketing. Does that make sense? That means the Fed is trying to get interest rates down. They are literally cutting interest rates. So you should be short interest rates, right? Okay. But as of right now, everything is okay. Everything is okay for right now. The short interest rate trade is still playing out. So you can buy the TLT as long as that continues to be the case. 88.65. You start closing dailies, multiple dailies under this level, it could go much lower. Next potential level to look for support here. Then if that level gets broken here, that will be very bad. They have been literally trying to keep this thing out of bad territory, man. If the demand for the bond market goes back to Japan, this will fall. And it will fall hard. Is it a good buy? Yeah. Theoretically speaking, it should be, because they are cutting rates. But if their rate cutting doesn't slow this down, it will break down and be nasty. If that happens, I'm sure risk markets will roll over. We don't want that to happen. Nobody wants that to happen. We want this to hold a support. So yes, you can buy it, but just understand that it's dangerous. I didn't even want to see it come back, and it came back with a passion. But here's the thing. What's Bitcoin doing today? It's rallying super hard. Risk markets, what are they doing today? Well, they're pulling back now. Yeah, I mean, this is what I was saying. Like, this is going to have real big implications. Real bad implications. So don't buy it. It's today. It's trying to bounce today. You can see that literally happening as we're speaking. So if we go look at this on an intraday time frame, you can see how it gapped down, opened lower, pushed lower, and is now going back up to fill that gap. This is the crucial key support that needs to hold. So what you could do is you could buy it right now and put a stop under 88.42 or lower, depending on how many shares you buy, how much leverage you put on it, if any. But in theory, they're going to cut in December, right? We don't know for sure they are, but we can see there's a really high chance they do. That's going to be on December the 10th. That's your next Fed rate decision. So this price should hold. If there's still if the Japan participants that are buying US debt continue to buy US debt, if they flee and start selling US debt, this level will not hold. Let me put it to you that way. If they say, you know what, we don't want to buy US debt anymore, we're going to start buying Japan debt because we can get almost the same rate. So we're going to sell all of our US debt. This level will not hold. It will drop. As long as they keep buying debt, this level should hold. That's my opinion on TLT. Remember to deduct a fund from the annual percentage yield, or APY. Can you look up no pants USDT? No pants. Always. I'm super bullish on no pants. ICP monthly looks like an inverted hammer. Let's pull up ICP. It was on the watch list. It got creamed. This is old. I haven't looked at it in a long time. Let me pull it up on a fresh chart. Oh, that's a disgusting monthly candle. Yuck. All right, so this is going to be the price to be important moving forward on this thing. If you break down under that, then clearly my downside target would be 294. Upside target, October's high. So, I mean, is this in the same family as XMR dash ZEC? ICP is one of them, right? But it's not like you can trade this on Coinbase. Obviously, it's listed on Coinbase, so it's not the exact same thing, but it might be in the same sector. Looks okay today. I don't know that you're going to get a pullback all the way to that or today's open. If you do, it might not look good, or it might not be fun to buy it. But on the near term, if this thing keeps wicking on a 4-hour closing basis through December's open, you could think you could buy it. And then with little leverage, if any, maybe throw a stop down here at today's low. That's your day open. This is your low day. This is a month open. Day open, month open. So if you see like 2 or 3 4-hour candles printing through here but failing to close under it, this would be the zone that I'd be interested in buying. But it's not a fabulous place, but it still is what it is, right? If it wicks under the December open and tags the daily open, that might be better. But if you close a 4-hour candle back under December's open, that's not going to look great. So ICP is very easy here. It's an easy buy. If you look at 4-hour candle here on Fartcoin, that's a 1-hour chart. Sorry. Here you go. Now, to be fair, this 4-hour candle just opened about 40 minutes ago, or 31 minutes ago. So you still got 3.5 hours for this candle to play out, right? But where is the level to buy? You're going to have to let price discover that level, because your November opens way down here. This was a November high. But what I'm saying is, you've been testing this level for time now, And you still haven't seen a magnificent sell-off. Which you'll probably see. That's a lot of volume building up there. This is an aggressive move higher. It's one standard deviation of what we got this month, though. Like, this is a normal day range on Fartcoin. These are your huge days. From low to high, Fartcoin moved what? Almost 30%. Oh my goodness. Yeah, my Pingu Long is still in the money. Like, insane move. Kaboom! Those are the big rallies we want to take part in. But people aren't selling it. They're like trying to buy it. They're trying to buy it. Craziness. So maybe wait for ICP to pull back a little deeper. Let this entire 4-hour range get situated, probably. And then look to maybe buy in the next 4-hour range. Because this is a big move. This thing could take off. It could keep going. Depending on how big this short squeeze is, this thing could just put in a very small wick and take off again. So here was a gigantic big 4-hour breakout. The next 4-hour candle, see how the wick went like just barely into this range? Set the low and then went up. That's literally what you have happening right now. This is December's open. If December is going to be a bullish month for ICP, then I would be more than okay with buying December's open. It's easy enough to at least mitigate risk. If you're trading under December's open, then there's a chance you're not going to be bullish that month. And this is your second opportunity to buy December's open. First opportunity was here. Now you got a chance to buy December's open again. So you can see those people rush in. Only time will tell if they do or not, though. XMR cartel coin, LOL. Yeah, those are people that would be interested in XMR, absolutely. Yeah, anybody that's doing illegal stuff probably likes XMR. And they're probably not selling. They're not trading it. It's like insurance. They're trying to hide that money, so... But I just mean, because it doesn't... Like, I'm not even saying that's why you don't want to sell it or look to trade it. It's because it's not traded on a public blockchain like Coinbase or Binance. Because it doesn't, like, it's not an easily accessible, tradable asset. It is tradable on some exchanges, futures and spot, but not on all exchanges. Therefore, it's not going to act like every other coin. It's going to act like its own thing. So it might be best to leave it alone. Would you use a fib to determine where ZEC is going if up? I think ZEC is probably done as long as ZEC is still a privacy token, but it is traded on exchanges such as Coinbase and Binance. So since that is the case, I mean, you're seeing an aggressive bounce on it today, like everything else. It's not as aggressive as everything else, but it is an aggressive bounce. You're still bearish on the month. You're still bearish on the week. If it's going to maintain bullishness from here, ZEC, then it should bounce here. Down here's where the 21 exponential is on it, though. On the weekly. You're testing the daily. No, you lost the daily. Got it. Okay, so the only reason, like, I wouldn't be interested in buying this like this, but if it holds here, I could make the argument that it could be a buyable opportunity. Based on volume. Right? Based on volume. Because that's what the VWAP is. It's the volume weighted average price. So as long as price is trending under the volume, that means bearishness is in control of price ranges. It's more bearish than bullish. This is the first indication. So this right here is doing exactly what Fartcoin did yesterday. Here. Okay? So what transpired on Fartcoin here yesterday is what ZEC is currently doing today. Right now, this is your lowest 30-minute candle close. Watch 30-minute candle closes moving forward. And as long as you're not closing under here, you could arguably buy this price. It's the first real opportunity. So this is going to be a weekly VWAP. It will turn into a monthly VWAP, obviously, next week. But if you just do this real quick and look at what price did here. Weekly, but not this week. Right? So here's your last 3 weeks of price action on ZEC. You can see how it was easy to be bearish right here. Very easy to take that short. It was at noon, so it's, well, actually, yeah, this would have been inside the right time for us to be a seller here. That would have been a decent opportunity. Clearly, when this happened, we had to say, wait, what's going on here? Something may be changing. Your weekly open is up here. It acted as resistance. It rolled over, bounced, and then broke through right here. Would have been a selling opportunity. This would have been a selling opportunity. New week. Get rid of that. That no longer matters. You're in a new week of trade, new order flow, new everything. This would have been the first sellable opportunity you would have gotten, stopped out. Then it broke back under. This was a sellable opportunity. This would have been a sellable opportunity. A lot of people got stopped out. But once it broke back under, It then became a lot easier to sell swing highs. You see what I'm saying? Ooh, shit. Okay, so delete that. We're in a new week and a new month. So, boom, this is the first real different thing in the weekly range. So we don't know that the bulls are going to be able to control price for the rest of the week. But what we do know is, at least for right now, in this moment in time, if the buyers can defend this price, 354.52, then you can be long there. Just make sure your stop loss is situated just in case it breaks back down. Because if it does break back down, then every retest back into it will be looked at as a sellable opportunity. All this is, guys, if you don't know how to get this, this is right here on forecasting and measurement tools. There's a little arrow right there. Just click on it. Come down here to volume-based tools, and anchored VWAP is right there. Just click a star there, and it'll build out this tool down here for you, your favorites. And then all you have to do, every week open, drop this on that candle on the week open. And then you can kind of see what's happening intra-week. It makes it a lot easier to be a seller on the weekly range, especially if you're trading under the week open and under the VWAP. Then every spike will be a sellable opportunity. But this is actually the December open. It just also happens to be the weekly open. So the buyers need to prove it. Right now, it looks okay, but they need to prove it. With everything else that's going on in the market, I would say, yeah, probably, right? Like it's probably an opportunity. Now, with that being said, it has and is in a downtrend, right? 1, 2, 3. So you're in a 3-week downtrend. You broke under and are trading under last month's low. So that literally means, on an objective level, you are trending under November's low. That's bearish. So going forward this week just started. Going forward this week, that will be very important. What happens here? If the buyers can protect the VWAP, right? If they can protect the VWAP and get it back above the November low, then at least the buyers are doing something different on the very near term. It won't prove that it'll be good for the long term, but on the near term, at least you have something changed here. Something is different. And it's volume. If you put on your volume delta, I was actually trying to drop that. Volume delta is still very much negative here, but it is at least trying to become positive. So watch 30-minute closes. If you're making lower 30-minute closes, then you're going to have to ease off on the buy. So buying under this 30-minute candle's low is a risky buy. Does that make sense? It's risky simply because you're trading under it already. But in theory, you could make the argument that it is a buyable opportunity. Maybe set your stop loss right here under this candle's low. So you can buy ZEC right this second and set your stop loss at 347.18. And maybe as time goes on, the buyers will show up and it'll start to slowly trend to the upside. Maybe. But it is an opportunity nonetheless. I will do it. I'll do it with you. I made over $1,000 a day. Why not? ZEC. I don't like ZEC, but it's definitely bearish, but I will do that. All right. So let me go on a 30-minute time frame here. I'm going to hit buy limit at 351. And I want to buy, I don't know, let's say a couple $100 worth. That'll be 9 tokens with 20x leverage. Let me see what that is exactly. Stop loss 346.50. $346.50. That's a pretty wide stop loss on 20x leverage. So you might have to go smaller. You'll have to do on 20x leverage, you'll have to do like 6 tokens. Maybe that'll get you under $30 on that wide of a stop loss. Okay, so 105 on 20x leverage. We don't want to lose more than $30, so 30% on that stop loss will put you right there. So there it is. Yeah, that'll work. All right, so long entry, 351.78 on weeks for me. Stop loss, 346.50. So if it trades under here, I'll be smoked. And I'll lose 30 whole dollars. If I'm right and it goes up for days, I'll make a lot more than 30 whole dollars. Because I have 20x leverage. Looks like I mean, it could be. We'll see. Thoughts on Intel? Intel was a viable opportunity a long time ago. It isn't now because it had a massive spike. You're on highs. I don't like buying things on highs. I like buying on pullbacks. So like I could have bought here, for instance, on that pullback. When it pulled back into it here, I could have been like, okay, I'll buy 33.50 and then I'll close it if we start closing dailies under that price. But I can't buy it up here. This is not a buyable opportunity for me. You're actually into resistance or potential resistance. So again, I will need to be a buyer here or wait for a pullback into here and then see what price does if it gets down into here. And if it looks like it's going to try to build in support, then I can buy it again. So for Intel, you must wait for it to, this is that month high, right? So let it pull back into here and then let it show you that it is holding. Then you can buy it. And then you can set a target up in here. And make sure if you're buying it with options down here, you're buying further out than 30 days because that's the monthly range. But yeah, it's got to pull back before I can buy it. It might not. It might be too late. I don't know. But we'll see what it does. It could have been buying it down here. Obviously, this was a good buyable range. Very easy. That is clearly not the yearly open. Is it? No, it is. I mean, you could have bought it at the year open. But what made it, I mean, it was even better. Monthly closes under it wouldn't have been good, but you can see how this is the lowest monthly close, right? Right there. You did not close a monthly candle under that price. So that would have been support. So anytime you traded back into this level would have been a potential buying opportunity. It got really volatile right through here. Not so volatile here. Not so volatile here. There. There. That would have been the price to buy. That would have been the best price to buy on this chart. In hindsight, you would not have known to buy it there, clearly. But we could have bought it there because that's how we trade. We wouldn't have bought it on this day because it closed under. But when we started seeing this, we could have bought on this day or even on this day. Because both of those swing lows lined up with a daily open. So intraday, this would have been a buying opportunity. And as low as here. With this asset move so slow down in here, that wouldn't have mattered. I would have bought that. Hands down. Easily. Easily. Once you start closing dailies under, then I would have bailed. But yeah, it ended up holding support. That's what you got to wait for. Now it's too late. The opportunity was down here. Now you got to let it go. You got to let it set into a new range, a new price discovery range. Then you could look to be a buyer. Right now you got to, it's a nothing. There really isn't a whole lot right now. The trade desk is like one of the only opportunities that's like legitimately retesting support. So you can send that trade off. Set a stop loss under that swing low. But there's a potential trade opportunity literally happening right now on this. See, you did close a monthly under there last month. That sucks. So what you could do on this is you could wait for dailies to start closing back above this and then buy that price instead. But I like this price better. So I can buy it as long as it's not pushing down here, making fresh lows. This is an opportunity right now. UNH is trying to build in a range here. So if UNH pulls back into here and holds, I can buy that also. Looks like somebody else bought there. So I could buy there in the future as well. Same goes for O'Reilly. When it gets back down into here, we'll see if it starts to build in support. If it does, we can buy there. UPS did hold support. We did buy that. It did already. We already made money on that one. There's not a whole lot else that's like actually into a tradable opportunity. Home Depot lost support and you're pushing on lows. The new support on Home Depot is here. So if Home Depot pulls back down into 334, same scenario. As long as it's not pushing on fresh lows under that, closing dailies under that, you could buy Home Depot. The Home Depot, the Trade Desk, UNH, all three of these are potentially at opportunities. I guess USO, you could trade USO instead of oil. Oh man, I don't know though. Easy enough. I would probably rather buy it down there. So like this whole box, I could buy USO in. Stop loss 68.13. USO is cheap too. I would want to go out long term though. July. Calls aren't cheap there. But I could put on like a $5 wide spread and get it cheaper. So maybe. It aggressively bounced at 58 on the spot price, but it's been consistently heading lower since. S&P 500 rejected pretty hard. I didn't even see that. Boom. And Bitcoin did not. That's funny. Huh. That's funny. This could act as resistance, but I mean, I don't know if it will or not. Previous week high. So you made a fresh weekly high and then bleh, puked. Yeah, that would have been a simple trade. I wasn't paying attention. Yeah. Was not paying attention. Yen is not breaking down, and yen is not breaking down. Not yet. Not yet, it isn't. Not today. It might be later. It might not ever break down. But I know one thing. If it does, that's a good looking candle right there. I know one thing. If it does break down, I definitely want to be short Aussie yen. I wouldn't mind being short Swissy yen, USD yen. I'm bound to catch one of them, right? I want to be long the yen. I would say probably if you think the nightmare trade is coming, if you think the BOJ is going to hike and all that, and it is going to cause the world to go into a great financial collapse, another GFC, USD JPY would probably be the best one to short, because the USD is, or the Fed is also cutting interest rates, which theoretically should be bearish for the dollar. It hasn't been yet, but theoretically it could be. If this continues to play out, then I definitely want to hold this thing short. I mean, that's a beautiful retest of the December open and a pretty nice reaction off of it for now. But I got a little bit of everything going on here. A little bit of all of it. We got Forex positions open, ready to go. BTC is really just consolidating inside. Thoughts on Intel? Yeah, we talked about that. Weekly range, so it really isn't doing anything. Deploying range-bound trading strategies, not trending. Well, it did today, but you're right. Right now, it's trading above the December open. So you can't. I mean, it's trading. You just made a fresh December high on Bitcoin. That was December's high. Yeah, I mean, you're still trading inside November. Clearly. You're still trading inside November's range. But for the December range, you have made a low and a fresh higher high. So at least you can say for this month, you are trending. That is the definition of trending. Higher highs. But once you took out that wick, you did in fact make a fresh higher high. Then you did another one. So you, as of right now, you are currently trending higher on the monthly range. But on the quarter, no. On the quarter, you're inside. Gold looks tired for the near medium term. Yeah, gold does look tired. Gold would be a buy for me if it can hold support. There is a support on gold as well. Let's go look at it. Here's the thing. Is gold going to continue to run if the yields and if the BOJ or the JGB yields start to spike? Will gold then rally? I agree, it is massively overbought. You're at 90 on the monthly RSI. Hugely overbought. But see here, you were overbought here too. See this? You were overbought here too. You were at 85 on the month, overbought. 1 month, 2 month, 3 month. You stayed inside this month. And then it broke out, made a higher close. Boom. Then it boom, boom. So this is your range right here. Right there is support. Will be support. Not on the first test. If it breaks down and comes down into here, I would want to see it bounce. If it can bounce or hold this level, I could be a buyer on gold. Now, other people are going to do different things on this. They're probably going to throw technical trend lines on it. You know what I mean? You're gonna throw that on there. They're gonna throw this on there. But then they got stopped out, so now they have to put this up. and say, well, as long as it's trading in this, you are building in a long-term wedge. And I would agree with that. But as a price action analyst, this is where I'd want to be a buyer on gold. Not here and not here. Here. So if gold can pull back into this area, and come down into here, then I can buy here. All right. Then I can buy here. If this happens, every retail person on the face of the planet is going to be like, oh, gold's going down. It broke down out of this ascending wedge. Blah, blah. Then this is the actual range. This is the range right here. It isn't until you break 38.19 that something has changed. It's only then. Not until then. Because right now, if you look at this on a quarterly basis, you see what I'm saying? On a quarterly basis, you're doing nothing. The sellers knew they were wrong when it broke out right there. Oh, everybody was selling right here. On that close, they knew, holy shit, we're wrong. Gold's breaking out to the upside. That's why we were long gold. When gold was building in this accumulation, we were long. We bought support. We were getting prepared for this breakout. We made money on that trade. That was a good trade. So now we're doing the same thing again. But right here is the level of interest for gold longs. Now, if we lose this level, and then this level becomes resistance in the future, then I will say, I think the gold longs may be done for a while. But until it loses this, objectively speaking, gold is still very bullish. Very bullish. They front ran it so hard here. They didn't even allow it to get back to the quarter low. Like, so that could even be support. You've got three major levels of support for gold, but my favorite's this one down here. But any one of them could hold. There it held. But what did you do? You traded up into here, you rejected, now you're pushing lower, and you took out the previous day's low. So if I was day trading gold, I'm not. But if I was day trading gold right now, as long as gold fails to go above this, I could be short. I could look for gold shorts right there. My strategies. Right there. That's daily res. You got daily supply here. This is after a month high rejection. That's November's high. It will always be November 2025's high. You liquidated it and then you closed under it. And today, so anybody that was buying gold today, intraday, your intraday gold buyers, before now we know what's what, right? This would have been the area. Once they lost it, look at this. Like, you can see where the buyer stepped up right there. But upside targets would have been here. It fell short, dropped, came back in, set a lower high, and then stopped out the gold buyers. Then you got this near-term chaotic move. Boom. So as long as you're like trading under this and this, I have a short side, near-term short side bias. but only near term. I wouldn't be taking the short today. Today, that move is already played out. Gold is a difficult trade on an intraday basis. Very difficult. But if it trades back up into here, I could look for shorts up in here. Not here. Here. If it refuses to go higher than that, that's where I would put a short trade on. And my downside target would be right there, 41.45. That would be max target. I would have primary target would probably be a lot quicker than that. And then this would be like a secondary target. And then this would be like a tertiary target. Look, if I would have been paying attention to gold, I would have taken this trade. I absolutely would have taken that trade. And I absolutely could have shorted that hourly close. I would have done it on a 30-minute basis, though. This would have been the level of interest. I'm not picking that this is not a cherry-picked or hindsight. Yeah, I could have. It's literally what we did on Fartcoin. It just didn't freaking work on Fartcoin. Here is the 9 o'clock open. There is the daily supply zone. Wait for this candle to close. As soon as that candle closes, hit the sell button. Stop above day high. Right there. That would have been my short trade. And my target literally would have been right there. That's the trade I would have put on gold. I just missed it. I didn't see it, or I would have. And it's not a good A setup, though. It's definitely not. You're going against trend. But now that trade played out, we could watch it later on and see. But even though we have a long-term bullish bias on gold, this is support. This is just what we would have done on an intraday basis, based on what it did, based on it liquidating November's high and rejecting. Yeah, it would have been an easy short trade to make. We'll see what it does moving forward. But yeah, what is your source for a VWAP higher close? It's the open. The open of the month, the open of the week. It's just the open. It's going to put it where it wants. It's the anchor weighted VWAP is going to be placed manually. So let me use gold, for instance, here. I can't because it's forex.com. Forex.com does not provide volume to exchanges. It's proprietary data. So you're not going to see the VWAP. Let me go find it on another exchange. Here you go, Oanda. So you just go to the open. Watch. This is the weekly open candle right here. That is Monday's opening price. It doesn't matter what time you're looking at. That's Monday's opening price. You can put the VWAP on down here. Boom. It automatically placed it there. It's anchor. It's going to anchor itself. So even if you go on the hourly time frame, gold opens at, what time does gold open? 1800 hours. That's the opening price at 1800 hours. Just the candle where the open happens. So all you have to do, if you want to place a weekly VWAP, anchored VWAP, just go to the weekly candle, go to the open, and voila. It's going to set it automatically for you. Also, look at that. Woo! Cooking with grease, boys. Now y'all's cooking with grease. You can forget every other trading strategy you learned on YouTube. It's over with. I'm taking over this world. Now, we would have taken that trade for sure. We wouldn't have loved it because it was bullish, but it was bearish on the week. The week's range was bearish. That would have been a beautiful test. We would have had to wait on the close of this candle, though, because this data was different, wasn't it? There's that daily supply candle right there. So that data would have been different. Oh, that would have been an easier trade. Absolutely. That would have been such an easy trade to take. And it's not cherry picked. It's the trade we would have taken. Boom. You see that? At 9:30 in the morning, if you would have hit sell on gold, you would have been in the money. And your signal would have been what? It would have been a short. All you needed to do was line that up. This is not... I mean, this signal lines up perfectly. That's a supply candle. It just also happens to be the weekly open. The time, everything would have been perfect. It would have been perfect. But now, like, obviously, it's probably... We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Where support's going to come in on the near term. Probably the first place people are going to look to buy gold will be here. So you're going to have to fight through all of that volume. Then the next place will be here. So, I mean, there's still a lot of stuff that has to happen to gold moving forward. But my favorite place to buy will be the quarterly low. Bitcoin, fresh day high. Bam! Fartcoin, not fresh day high. Pingu, fresh day high. Bam! Zcash. Uh-oh. 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 I'm just kidding. It did close under. See that? That's a close under. So if you're still trying to buy Zcash, it doing what we don't want it to do, but this is the stop. So as long as you got this, if you're long from here, stop is here, you're good, you're okay. We don't know what'll happen, obviously, but that is okay. It's an okay trade. Now remember, this thing is way under the weekly open, so it's not as good. And your deltas are bearish. It's not a great long. It's trending lower. It is what it is. But Fartcoin trying to hold on here. If Bitcoin can continue to make fresh highs and trend higher today, same with Ethereum, Fartcoin's probably going higher. But be careful, guys. Very, very crazy out there today. Sorry, joined late. Thoughts on nuclear new scale? SMR just bounced off the 200 week EMA. New scale. And you said it was what? SMR? 200 week. Are you using the simple or the exponential? Uh-oh. The exponential you're using. Huh. The chart looks okay. It bounced here before. Obviously, I don't know that it's going to bounce again, but it did bounce here before. Oh, that's a disgusting monthly chart. Man, I don't know about this thing. That's last month's low. So if you're pushing on these lows down here, then obviously it might not be a buy because they might want to test the 200 simple. And then also look, you have a weekly support zone right there. So in theory, right, you could buy here, no leverage, just to own the shares. You could buy the shares and then set your stop just under 18. What is that? 16.99. Because if you get stopped out, you're going to look to see what happens down in here. You pushed through it, and then you got a whole. Last week was the holiday week, so we won't hold that against this pathetic candle right here. But I mean, it's looking okay. That's your open, though it's failing at the open. It's failing December's open. That's not a great sign. It doesn't mean that it's over with and it's going down, but you want to see that hold. Well, the ZEC just smoked me. Yeah. Piece of garbage. Screw you! But yeah. It is what it is. It's very weak. Yes, it is into a support zone, but it is very weak. Like, you could barely bounce last week. You did bounce this week, so you want to see that momentum continue. It's already getting beat up. Like, that momentum is failing. That's not really momentum at all. It's bouncing at the daily open. So that's better than not. Yeah, it's cheap. It's a slow moving asset. It would be very simple to mitigate risk on this asset. Very simple. What do you think about block and fold? I don't know what block and fold is. You're talking about block the stock? What is it? BLK? No. BLCK? No. What is the ticker? It ain't block either. Is it a crypto? It is a crypto. I don't know if it's a crypto or not. You got to give me tickers. I don't know what these are. All right, so at least Fold is a stock ticker. We're gonna have to wrap it up soon. I got a call coming up. I gotta take. Well, it bounced. I don't know if this is the asset you're talking about or not. You know what I mean? It's not a great chart. Long term, it looks like garbage. It's been trading since 2008, and it IPO'd at $16. It's trading for $9. That's usually not a good sign. Obviously, they don't make money. Maybe they will eventually, but right now they don't. I mean, they're bouncing, and they have been bouncing for the last couple months. That's good news, I guess. This isn't something that I would trade or own. I like growth stocks. I like stocks that when you go like look at it on a quarterly chart or a yearly chart, it like literally trends from the bottom left to the top right. That's a growth asset. Those are things I want to invest in. Things that grow over time. Not things that don't do anything ever. Like it's less than what you could have bought it for at the IPO. But like I said, this might not be the ticker or the asset that you're wanting to see. You could be talking about a crypto. I don't know. Farcoin headed back up. Looks like it. I mean, that's a pretty big day. I would say the majority of your daily range is in. Could you do this for the rest of the day? Yeah. Right? Yeah. Could Farcoin do this for the rest of the day? Yeah, it could. Is Farcoin gonna go do this? No, probably not. It's probably done. It's 12:30 p.m. It's probably done. Right here was 12 o'clock yesterday, and then it rallied a little bit, and then it. So maybe you do put in one more fresh high, and that's it. Bitcoin continues to do this. Bitcoin's testing the daily 21 exponential moving average. Nice. That means MicroStrategy is going to be a nice bounce. Hell yeah. Where does it need to get before I start making big money? $225. So I bought shares of MicroStrategy, and I also put on a long call spread at 225. I'll be completely in the money. It's got to get all the way up there. What the fuck? What was that? Target. When it gets there, I'll close that trade out, but I'm holding the shares. I'm going to keep the shares. I got the shares cheap. I'm going to hold that for a while. This needs to be green. But yeah, MicroStrategy is not moving as big as Bitcoin is. What? Bitcoin is up 6%. Oh, to be fair, MicroStrategy is up 7%. Okay. Holy cow, dude. Pingu's up 30%. What a nice trade that ended up being. I'm looking forward to 2026 yearly open on Bitcoin. Me too. Absolutely. We're going to do good. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for your time. We'll see you again on Thursday. Make sure you guys trade safe. Make sure you trade smart. And as always, happy trading, everybody.